I also want to thank all of the speakers from this session, Jack Straw, Wayne David, Leila Moran, and Joanna Cherry. I think we're all sorry that Baroness Warsi couldn't join us today, but it's good to know that you can check her speech that she gave, a very powerful speech in the House of Lords a few days ago. We've posted the link in the chat. So I'm now going to read out a closing declaration on behalf of the Balfour Project, and it's one that we issue in our own name and under our own authority. It does not imply that any of the participants, any of the speakers endorse it, although they may share some of these views, but it's issued in the name of the Balfour Project. And here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, equal rights under the law are the foundation stone of all democracies, and Israel views itself as a democracy. Many in Britain and elsewhere were dismayed, though, by the Knesset's adoption in 2018 of the discriminatory Jewish nation-state law. This law declares that the right to self-determination in what is known in Hebrew as Eretz Israel, that is the biblical land of Israel, or else the former British Mandate Palestine territory, is reserved exclusively for Jews. Israel is also high-handed in its disregard for Palestinian rights in the territories it occupied in 1967. There it imposes inequality based on a person's religion or ethnicity. In recent months, two respected human rights organizations, B'Tselem and Human Rights Watch, have concluded that the authorities practice apartheid there on a systematic basis. Israel's actions result in injustice in Palestine. In turn, injustice and inequality breed insecurity and radicalization, increasing the risk of violence, as we have seen so tragically in recent days. Israel and Palestine both have legitimate security concerns which must be addressed mutually. In the view of the Balfour Project, the occupation must come to an end peacefully, and upholding the core principle of equality between peoples is the only way to achieve a lasting peace. The Palestinian leadership, sadly, has often disappointed its own people. Recently, this was by postponing the first elections in over 15 years, needed to restore its democratic credentials, but it lacks power, and only Israel has the power to end the occupation. So we now appeal to our government to heed the following 5 calls. All are based on international law and those basic human rights the United Kingdom has pledged to uphold. They are: 1. Uphold equal rights for all in Israel and Palestine. 2. Recognize the state of Palestine alongside Israel now. Both peoples have an equal right to self-determination, as the Balfour Project has consistently argued. 3. Reaffirm publicly that the ongoing systematic and illegal annexation of Palestinian land is destroying the premise of British policy, 2 independent sovereign states. 4. Affirm that international law must operate in deed, not just in word. In practice, this means declaring the continued closure of Gaza to be collective punishment, with consequences for the occupying power. Sponsoring an independent fact-finding mission on the treatment of Palestinian children in Israeli military detention. Pressing the Palestinian Authority to create an independent judiciary and to incorporate the legal category of crimes against humanity into Palestinian law. Ensuring the International Criminal Court is able to conduct its work independently and remains immune from interference, and supplying information to the UN database on foreign companies engaging with settlements as well as those who sustain them. And finally, 5, put into UK domestic law the international legal principle that Israel should not benefit economically from its de facto annexation of land. In practice, this means ending access to UK markets for settlement products and UK business dealings with settlements and those sustaining them, and strengthening UK support for legal efforts to keep Palestinians on their land in East Jerusalem and the West Bank, as well as strengthening the international response to systematic land theft, house demolitions, and settler violence against Palestinian civilians. Upholding the rule of law consistently, without fear or favour, should be the hallmark of global Britain. The British government will be judged by its response. We, the Balfour Project, make this call in the interests of both peoples in the region and in our own national interest. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for attending this conference, which we have really enjoyed arranging for you, and we hope that you have benefited from. The full text of this declaration will be available on our website, and we also encourage you to be able to spread the word about the Balfour Project and to support us in any way that you feel is appropriate. Thank you very much.